Hi, guys. It's Esme, and this is the Are You Good podcast. And I'm with.
Dominic Y. I'm from seventh grade, and yeah, that's it.
Name's Lucas Schoppel. You might remember me best from other episodes of this podcast, most notably the one on ADA, and of course the one our interview with Madame Principal.
Sweet. And today we're going to talk about anger management, and how we handle anger. Dominic, you want to kick it off?
What does anger feel like in your body or mind?
Personally, it's just fire. Like it's it's can start with a little spark. And it's also kind of like a pool game, with the stick and stuff colliding into each other. The If a ball collides with each other with anyone when they're not angry, it just becomes angry.
What anger feels like with me is like the Hulk. I am a calm person, but once my anger comes out, I turn into a very angry green man.
I was just gonna say that I feel like you are like a ticking time bomb. That personifies you a bit more.
I think I can agree with Lucas as well. When I feel very angry, that's when I start feeling very hot or warm inside, and not being able to like fully control my thoughts in one. What are some things that you guys think you struggle with that cause you to be angry at school?
Well, me personally, I have a couple of stories about S.C. Johnson.
But we won't talk about those since that's beyond the scope of this. Personally, I have a little bit of lasting anger towards my deadbeat dad, let's just say. His name was Jeremy, and well, he at first caused trouble in my household, but then we moved, me, my mom, and Jeremy moved to Arkansas, where the trouble just grew from there. One time, didn't want to eat Chinese food due to my picky diet, and my mother and father argued about that. Eventually, he moved away, and the last I saw of him was him in a car and looking very ill, a little ill. Personally, I still have a little spark of anger towards him, and just in case if he ever comes back, which is well, possibly never, I'll say something like, "All right then, let's continue with what we had."
What I struggle with my anger issues is, let's just say, I get sensitive really easy when it comes to my anger issues, because this my dad has anger issues, so I kind of get the genes from him.
I appreciate you guys sharing some of those personal stories. What makes you like angry or upset at school though? What causes those things to build up? Is it like the loudness? Is it having to do work? What do you guys think?
Pers- Personally, it's a mix of bullying, anger, loudness, and a lot. Basically, it can it can take a heck of a day in order to make me feel like I'm about to blow up. And well, as for Dom, it we'll just say see what he's in.
What some common triggers are, let's just say, someone annoying me, if I didn't get enough sleep, or let's just someone just makes me very angry. I just don't want to talk to them.
Yeah, I kind of sympathize with you a little.
Yeah, I think a big common one I would say that I see amongst you guys are sometimes other people, right? If other peers say something, or they're disrupting the class, or we're taking things a little personal and what they say, because a lot of our friends can also be very direct, right? So that sometimes can come off harsh or rude. Um, how do you know when you're starting to get upset, Lucas?
Well, I just feel a little faint sound in my ear when I begin to get frustrated. Because, and well, when I get more and more angry, it gets a tiny little bit louder and louder and louder until the kaboom moment. That kind of reminds me of old cartoons when the noise for anger was a tea kettle. Remember that?
What I hear is a
And when you get more frustrated, it gets faster and faster until,
yeah, basically all the anger comes out of my body. I will say some pretty mean stuff that I will regret.
yeah, you're worried about losing friends as you did in our Behind the Sun podcast. Like that story, by the way.
I would say that is a big common one too, right? I think sometimes we're holding it in, holding it in, holding it in. That once you like explode and let it out, sometimes, most of the time actually, we say things that we don't mean, right? And then those things end up making us even more mad because we didn't mean to say them. And then it kind of just escalates the situation.
It just makes bites you right in the butt. Now, it's time for some. Now, Dom, can you think of a time when you handled anger well? What did you do? Well,
Well, I have multiple occasions where I've just held have have held in my anger. One, I have since my autism sometimes is the reason why I get mad because I have, let's just say, German Shepherds. I can hear every little thing. So I've held it in at Six Flags, basically at football games. Football games are a big one for me because I get angry when my middle brother is team is losing.
personally, I handled anger well a couple times. You see, one time when I was playing Spotify, a certain student, and I won't tell you which one it is, but if you're listening to this, I know you are angering me, but this hating me thing, it's just angering me. Just stop hating me. Anyways, I somehow snapped, um, angered him, and well, he went ballistic, but I just ignored it. I was just listening to Spotify, which that was still unblocked, by the way. Was and I didn't realize it until I blinked and saw. Holy smoly, that was what happened. A hurricane went through here or something?
Awesome. I'm glad to hear a little bit more about those stories, but can you guys answer that follow up question with that? You guys kind of explain some of those situations that make you guys upset, but what did you guys do in that moment?
The moment of like controlling our issues.
Yeah.
Well, I have Essie Johnson again. Johnson story time again. One time, this, these no good people, my other old friends,
Which you don't associate with it.
they started calling me Clarence, which I didn't really like because I have eczema and my cheeks get really red if I'm in the sun too long. But I just ignored it. I took it as a joke. I was like, ha ha ha, you guys, it's funny. But when my older middle brother did it, I didn't like it because me and him have a rocky relationship.
Yikes. Your middle brother is pretty mean. And, well, I kind of have that relationship with my sister Liz a little. At first, me and her were pretty okay, but then when Jeremy got in the mix, she began to get more and more and more angry at me because not only did I do some bad habits which ticked her off when I was a little baby, I just went "Wah, wah," when I was a young kid, and somehow that ruined her sleep schedule permanently. So now she's a night owl sleeping through the day and waking up in the night. Sometimes, at least. She's trying to fix it. If you're listening to this, huh, I never thought you'd listen to a Sonnenberg podcast of all things.
Okay, what about some healthy ways that we can respond when we are feeling angry, right? What are some things we can do?
I'll let Lucas take the lead for this.
Oh, thanks. Now, a couple healthy ways you can respond to this is let's do now, here's 3 steps. personally have. Dom, could you quickly? Number one, you if you're feeling like you're about to blow up, you're going to need to breathe in and breathe out. Number two, sometimes it might help if you have a stress toy. If you feel the urge to find one, just squeeze it. If you have a squeeze stress toy, at least. And finally, number three, just pretend that it's a bad dream. Try to snap yourself out of this situation. This concludes Lucas's top 3 tips.
So strategies I use, and number one, talk to one of my friends I have. That's a lot of. I have many friends. Number two, feeling overwhelmed. You're about to bang, kaboom, like a ticking time bomb. You need to talk. My personal advice is talk to a trusted adult that you feel safe with. Number three, listen to music like I do in English.
Awesome. Do you guys then find those things to be helpful? Like the things you've mentioned, like breathing, a stress ball, squeezing, or taking a break?
See, they are very useful to me because, I just said I get pretty triggered pretty easily. So I'm gonna let Lucas have the turn.
Now, it, it doesn't usually take me over a bit. It just I manage to keep it under control most of the time. But a few times I've exploded a bit. And well, one time in particular, I basically exploded just like a certain event, which is a bit hard for people nowadays. You see, it was at RCOC, and well, I used to go there after school, kindergarten in classes at Dr. Jones Elementary. And personally, those were good. However, one day, and this was at the end of the school year, mind you, I wanted to turn on the tablet, and well, I'll leave you with the end details. I had to clean up a completely trashed classroom with my grandma. It's a hard subject nowadays. This concludes my bad story.
I have a very same story as Lucas. This was the end of the year for S.E. Johnson. I forgot what year, fourth. I flipped the heck out. That I was throwing objects, punching people. Got so bad I had to get called my mom, which I somewhat regret. And anger does consume me a lot. It's kind of like a xenomorph. First, it comes to your body, takes over, boom, monster.
I really appreciate you guys sharing all these stories and sharing that information with everyone. I know earlier Dominic talked about talking to people when you're upset. Who are some of those people that you guys talk to when you're feeling angry?
Juwan, Amber, Miss Danny, basically my friends Cameron, Joey, Lucas, some other people that I know in the class, and that consumes my time.
As for me, I don't have a as big friend circle as Dom, but there are still some plentiful ones. For example, lots of teachers who, for the sake of time, my top 3 in order of lowest to highest are Mr. Juwan, Miss Danny, Miss Jackie now, since she's running the OT room, and finally you, Miss Esme. Now, how has our understanding of anger changed over time? We'll start with Miss Esme.
Well, when I was also a teenager and growing up younger, I think we're so inclined to just like think about what's happening in the moment and being upset and building our anger and not really listening or understanding the why. And I think now that I'm older, I understand the why and can like process it, take some time to think about things. So I feel like I tend to not be as angry because I try to cope with it already in the moment. What about you, Dom?
So how has my understanding of my anger has been changed over time? Well, S.C. Johnson, again, I keep this is S.C. Johnson is a very big part of my life for my anger. I used to get crush. I used to get mad very often for something, but over time now, I don't have those manic little episodes no more. But sometimes in Sonnenberg, I'll have a little episode sometimes.
Now, how has my understanding of anger changed over time? Well, personally, at first, I basically just let it do its own thing. But after that incident at RCOC, I got banned from that place for life. So I decided, well, that's it. I'm not going to do anything like that ever again. So, yeah, I'm going to say that at first I let it do its own thing. But after the RCOC incident, I decided once and for all, anger is a topic that is. It's a man's poison.
Okay, guys, what is some advice that you can give some younger students about handling anger?
All right. All right. I'm going to get really personal with this one. Kids, listen. I know your brothers and sisters or your friends, if they don't hang out with you, you shouldn't get really mad over it. You should think, man, I'm young. I shouldn't. They're older. That my friends are doing their own thing. I shouldn't. I can have other friends I can play with. So for the younger students, let your anger just steam out. It's like walking on charcoal. Just it hurts for a moment, but then you could just be done with it.
Well, what advice would I give to a younger student feeling anger? Well, basically, I tell him my story about RCOC, then say, kid, my lesson from that story is don't be too angry. You can be angry, but don't be too angry. Do I get what I'm saying?
Love it.
So, what, Dom? What would you say?
What is your teacher or staff what would you want teacher or staff to understand about students who are easily frustrated? Well, I want them to know that I said in the paper with my interview, I want people to understand that the reason why I'm angry, I just get like I want people to know. I don't want people just like, what is he mad? I want people to understand like, oh, he's mad and I feel like I could talk it out with him, tell him why he's angry. That's what I want teacher or staff to understand about me. Looks, do you have any?
Uh, mm, Not really. I, I think it's time for a little bit of introspection, real quick, before we snap this thing out of here. Now, if you could design a calm corner or toolkit for students, what would be in it? Well, personally, for my calm corner, I'd have rushing water with rocks to calm them down somewhat, fidgets, and all that junk. And, well, that would be basically be my ideal. It's just a relaxing spa like this. Now, Dom, what would yours look
I have a record full of various I'll ask the kids like, hey, what's your favorite music? Uh I'll get the vinyls And for my toolkit, Fidget, Captain Underpants books, many other books that kids may like, or if they don't like to read, we can be like I could read them a story of their choosing and they can make their own story.
Ooh, that's kind of interesting. Now, my last thing, I actually illustrated a story, but I'm kind of willing to sell it, get rid of it, or ditch it somewhere because today it's really, let's just say, cringeworthy. And our last, what I now, my top tip for managing anger, and when I'm mad, my top tip for managing anger for all of you is don't let anger consume you. Consume anger, the anger. Make sure you don't let the anger win.
When I'm mad, I wish for others that it's like Spider-Man's spider. It bites you, you'll gain some things. Difference is Peter Parker turned into a hero. Your spider, everyone has your own unique spiders. I'm gonna say that. My example, my unique spider is anger. So when the spider bites me, I get really mad and then it consumes me. And then I just turn into a very mean kid.
Personally, unrelated to this whole podcast, my spider is a bit of creativity. Maybe we could do an episode based on that. So,
Sweet. Okay. Well, let's wrap it up. I heard Lucas give his last top tip for managing anger. What about you, John? What's your last top tip?
Top tip for managing anger is calming down, listen to music, read your favorite book / manga, write it down, write your problems down, give it to a trusted adult, yada yada yada, other stuff that I could go on for days.
All right, Lucas, how about you wrap it up for us? Say some final words.
now, if you are interested in our little thingy at school, well, I'd like you to consider enrolling your student here, or if you're a student, ask your parents if you could enroll in this school next year. We are getting a new location and also more space and more students are necessary. As for me, I'm Lucas Schaubel. My pal is Dominic Y and Miss Esme over there. And I'll see you guys next time for the Get Better thing.
Listen to the all new episodes of the Are You Good podcast on Sonderberg, on YouTube, Facebook, many other app sites.
And that's a wrap.